folks trickling in, just watching the participants. Anyway, welcome to the monthly meeting of ANC 1B for August. Thank you for being here, and I guess we'll get our public session underway. So for the next 30 minutes, we have Director Natalie Snyder from MOCCA. If you'd like to go ahead, take yourself off mute, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, ANC 1B commissioners and ANC 1B community for having me. My name is Natalie Snyder. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and I'm the new and first director of the Mayor's Office on Caribbean Community Affairs. I wanted to introduce myself to your community because one, it's a new office, and sometimes it's not obvious to tell if someone is Caribbean or not, unless you've had, some relationships, or you can hear their accent in their voice. So my office was created I was appointed to the office in June of 2022. And the first thing I wanted to do was a listening tour. So I just came here. I will not need the whole 15 minutes. I just wanted to put my face to a name if you have heard about the office or myself. And I also wanted to give out some information to any of your constituents that are Caribbean. The mission of my office is to engage the DC Caribbean community and connect and link them to DC government resources. So if you want, I can email and text the commission my information, or I could just say it right now. What's your preference?
Both would be great.
Okay, yes, I could do it right now. So my work phone number is 202-409-9107. And my email address is Natalie, Natalee .Snyder, SNIDER @dc.gov. And at this moment, we're working on getting me an office, and it should be in the Reeves building at 14th and U Street. But I will be back as we get more things rolling. So this is just an introduction to say hi to everyone. And please, if you know of any Caribbean constituents, please send them my way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm sure everybody is happy to make your acquaintance.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Oh, I think Commissioner Ewart has a question.
Yeah, just one really quick question. So just wanted to say, thank you so much, Director Snyder, for taking the time to come to our meeting. We really appreciate it. I'm really excited to see that there is an Office of Caribbean Affairs that is being created by the mayor. I grew up in the city, and I have so many fond memories of the Caribbean Festival. It is no longer a thing, but I do think that it is something that the hunger and desire is there to bring that back, especially as the population in DC changes and folks kind of clamor for a little bit of a taste of what was. And we're really looking forward to working with your office to see what we can do with that. So I just wanted to say that and say that we're really excited to have you on board and looking forward to work with you.
Thank you kindly, Commissioner. I agree. I remember growing up, my mom taking me to the Caribbean Festival on Georgia Avenue, or sometimes I think it was also called Georgia Avenue Day, and so different things like that. And you are correct. The community is hungry for that. So I wrote that down with triple stars, and we'll see what we can get done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move on to Commissioner Harris's question, I just wanted to let everybody know that's attending tonight that if they have a question, please put it in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll pass it on. Thank you. Commissioner Harris?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Director Snyder. I wanted to ask, you mentioned, I think you mentioned this, and then Commissioner Ewart mentioned a little bit about previous events, but are there any upcoming events that you're planning that the community should know about or keep their eyes peeled for?
Thank you. At this moment, I'm just attending events. So for example, there's a festival tomorrow in Union Market. I am not at the stage where I'm planning events yet, but I will definitely make sure ANC 1B knows, because one of the things I'm trying to do is get a website together and a newsletter.
Great. And then what is kind of your ultimate vision for the office? What are you planning? What would you like to see? And I mean, not just with events or other things, any type of awareness pieces or education offerings?
So you actually said it perfectly. So the first thing I wanted to do is go on this listening tour to hear what the Caribbean community wants and needs. And I would say it's the same as every other DC resident. Economic stability, housing, things of that nature. So when I finish up this tour, which I expect to be finishing around the end of this year, I want to put together programs for financial independency, different things like that. So it's more right now just to get feedback from the community. And yes, you're correct. We hear a lot about the festival, but we know that folks want to stay and live in DC. So I want to get programs around that.
Great. Well, thank you so much again. And if you get a chance, I know you said it out loud, but if you can drop your information into the chat, I think that'll be really helpful for folks too.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I believe we have one other person. I'm sorry, my computer's being a little weird right now because of the storm, I think. Chris Wetherington from Restoring Pride. Would you like to take yourself off mute?
Yeah, sure. Hi, how you guys doing? My name is Chris Wetherington, and I am the Executive Director for Restoring Pride. We're a 501c3 focusing on the housing services in the LGBTQ community. And my organization actually is the only organization of its kind doing what we're doing for the people that we're doing it for. People who identify as LGBT, who are homeless, who are of age 25 and up. And I just launched this as of last week, about a week ago, a brand new housing program. I wanted to go into and explain, if I can get this to, yes, it will. Okay, so the new housing program that I just launched this past week is called A Place to Stay. And what it is a donor-based housing program where the community is able to participate or donate any available space that they may have that they're not using, whether it be either a shared room or a private room or an apartment that they're not doing so well on Airbnb, or even so much as a couch, to allow somebody who is homeless and identifies as LGBT a space to stay for a short term, as it's only short-term housing, but either 30, 60, 90 days or however long they choose to make their space available for. And what this is a brand new concept, totally new idea, never been done. And there's no information or data to tell you whether or not this plan is this model will succeed or fail. But I plan on I'll be pushing for success. Obviously, I want people to be able to have at least some sort of housing for some period of time while I am building my organization up and developing more new programs and waiting for funding for larger, more long-term programs. But 18% of all DC's LGBT are homeless persons. They all identify as LGBT. There's 18% of those living on the street, not in the shelters, whereas 7% of people living in the shelters also identify as LGBT. But that was done this year. I haven't seen the results because I haven't been able to get a hold of them, but that's what the point in time survey from this year reflects in DC. A little bit about Restoring Pride, we are working to obviously end chronic homelessness in the LGBT community. It is a problem that nobody really is aware of or is doing anything about it or has any information about, unless you've personally experienced the problem yourself. People aren't really aware that this is an issue in our community. We've been around since 2019. COVID shut us down for a while, and I started back up in February. So we are growing pretty quickly. Things are moving pretty fast. And this program is my first program that will provide any sort of such housing services to the community. Our main vision is to provide long-term or transitional housing for people to stay with for a term of 1 year while they work on their other problems or needs or whatever issues they may or may not be dealing with, while they have a stable place to live for a period of 1 year. That's the ultimate. That's the long-term goal here. A place to stay. It's an original approach to acquiring short-term housing. The intent of this program is for people to start working on things like employment, or maybe they have health issues that need to be addressed they're not currently able to deal with or work around. The donors, if people who want to donate to this program, your donations are tax deductible. So say you've got a space on Airbnb and you want to rent that, you want to donate that space to this program, you can deduct the however much you charge per night for however many days you're donating to the program on taxes. We do a thorough background check on all donors and clients who need housing, to make sure, for safety concerns, you don't want anybody getting partner with someone who's going to cause any kind of harm, damage, or to anybody else that they're staying with or whatnot. We do require that their participants have no felonies and have a clean record for about 2 years, no misdemeanors within 2 years of using this program. This is programs. It will be funded through a grant from the Community Foundation. I'm still waiting to hear back from them on that. And we're working with Mayor's Office for LGBT Affairs, the DC Center, VA Medical Center, Martha's Table, and a few other organizations that are in the works of being able to participate in this program for their clients. Let's see, that's really about it. Other programs here that we're also working on. We're working on a helpline for 24-hour helpline for those who are in emergency situations but don't feel comfortable calling 911. We'll have that available as well. Part of this A Place to Stay program requires that the participants either are looking for employment, education, or more long-term housing situations for themselves while they're staying in this program. What I'm asking for now, reaching out for in the community, is I need a physical space to operate out of to be able to work with clients and pair them up with donated spaces available. And I need people to get the word out there that this program exists, or who we are, my organization, and also this program to people who may or may not want to participate or might want to get involved. That would be greatly appreciated. I will be marketing, obviously, with DCS, Metro Weekly, and other publications as well. Looking for also, obviously, by doing this, we're looking for donations or opportunities to hold fundraising events. Those are always welcome. And if you'd like to volunteer, you can contact us through my website, which is restoringpride.org. And that is here is my site, Restoring Pride. You can find me and anything you'd like to know about my organization at restoringpride.org. And the housing program that I just discussed is called A Place to Stay. That is also on my site. Has a brief description, some minimum requirements to participate, and then the form, which is pretty straightforward here for whether or not you're looking for a space to stay, or you have a space you want to donate. That's all right here on this form. When it comes to And that's it. That's the basic program. And I'm hoping, I'm cautiously optimistic about the response. So thank you for listening to me about this. And I hope this was,
Thank you, Mr. Weatherington. I had one quick suggestion, maybe, and well, kind of a question slash suggestion. Have you attended any of our ANC 1B committees, economic development and public safety, community engagement?
no, I have not.
I would definitely recommend getting in touch with the chairs of those two committees because they could definitely help you in a much more directly focused manner to maybe help you find a space or at least get the word out so that you might have a better chance of finding something that will meet your needs. So,
Yeah.
so,
Okay. So what would you say? Committee meetings?
I'm sorry?
The committee meetings?
Yes. So there are two committees, economic development that might be able to help you, and the public safety and community engagement committee that is chaired by Commissioner Handerhan and Commissioner Farnan.
All right. And where do I find information on these meetings and where to attend?
You can go to our website, anc1b.org.
ANC1B. Okay, great. And that's all there?
Yeah, the schedule will be up there and the committees and the chairs and the contact information is all there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Any other questions?
That would be really helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. And we have a couple more questions for you. I think Commissioner Bana had a question.
Yeah. Hi, Chris. Thanks for being here, and really important. And thank you for bringing awareness to the issue of homelessness in the LGBT community. Very important. In my day job, I'm a social worker. I work with folks experiencing homelessness. I am a member of the LGBT community. So like I said, definitely really important. I just had a couple questions. So I know you mentioned that you're working with some partners, but how are you, I guess, ensuring that folks that are, participating in this place to stay program are like interfacing and being engaged with like all of the other homeless services in DC, whether it's getting a birth certificate or substance abuse counseling, like how are you connecting them up? Like, do you have case managers, social workers? What is your model there?
Yeah, part of when the funding is going to does cover a full-time case manager, and I'm working to figure out where I'm going to find a licensed social worker to manage to hire for a full-time case manager who's going to manage that all those aspects like birth certificate, driver's license, or identification, food stamps, housing, and job employment, and employment opportunities, that sort of thing. That will be done through case management, and that'll be covered under the Community Foundation grant that I've applied for.
Have you secured the grant?
No. They're announcing that grant won't be. I believe September is when they announced the grant. Who's being awarded with that grant? That's September.
So since your founding in 2019, what sorts of activities and record of working on this issue have you guys established thus far?
Okay, I have put together a very extensive list of resources that are available to the community as of now, like what organizations are doing in DC that provide homeless services. I've got a very extensive list of names and contact information, phone numbers, emails, websites, different of just about every service you can imagine being available in DC that is currently being done by others. I have that list. I've been handing out to people who could benefit from that information. I've been doing that for a while, and then this program is actually the first program that I've actually launched as far as actually going live and reaching out to the community. So yeah, waiting for funding has been the name of the game as of yet. But this program I don't need funding to launch this program, so that's why I was able to launch this program prior to receiving the grant that will be funding this program in the first place.
Great. And so on your slide, you mentioned background checking the clients in
Yes.
need of this program. However, it was unclear to me, are you also background checking and vetting the people who are offering their homes?
Absolutely. Yes, I would be.
Okay.
I don't want people to be paired with someone who's got any sort of like serious criminal activity, or maybe they have some anti LGBT, things on their records and anything like that. Yeah, I'll be checking for all that to make sure that both participants and donors are in a safe condition prior to the starting the program. Yes.
All right. I have some more questions, but I don't want to dominate the discussion. I will put my email in the chat, and I'd love to follow up with you after. And I just encourage you to, definitely make those connections, those relationships, and see how you can work together with the homeless service infrastructure that's already there, because there are some people doing really good work in the space with LGBTQ homeless youth, and so and homeless
I'm
individuals.
focusing on people who are 25 plus. The youth side,
Okay.
there are many organizations, like you said, that are focusing on the youth, but no one's working with people who are 25 up.
Okay, that's a great extra context and detail that I didn't see. So yeah, I'll drop my email in the chat, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I put my email and cell phone number are on the chat as well.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
We have one more, Commissioner Ewart.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring notice to the question in the Q&A, and something that I was curious about as well is this like, what are like the physical bounds of this program, of the place to stay program? Like, is it citywide? Is it beyond the bounds of the city? Like, are you like, where physically are you like trying to find people to house folks?
Okay, well, it is most definitely going to be citywide, for sure, for certain. But I'm still looking into compliance type issue things with regards to people who would want to donate out, say in the Virginia or Maryland areas. If they want to participate as well. I haven't gotten a final answer on whether or not there are any sort of extra requirements that are prior to providing housing in Virginia or Maryland. So DC for sure. And as soon as I know whether or not I can or cannot, or what I need to do prior to providing this program in Maryland or Virginia, I will, as soon as I know I have all my ducks in a row with doing so prior to opening the program up to Maryland or Virginia.
Awesome. Thank you.
There was also a question in the Q&A that is something that I think is important. There was a question about whether Restoring Pride organization has like a governing board, like a nonprofit board. Are you incorporated as a 501c3? How does that work?
Yes, we are a 501c3, and yes, I do have a board of directors. I'm waiting for my website does not list my board of directors just yet. I'm waiting for that information to collect that information before, and so I can submit it to my webmaster to have it updated on my website. But yes, I do have an active board of directors we are meeting. They are aware of this program, and they are actively engaged in my organization's success. And yes, we've been a 501c3 since 2019, and all of our IRS related compliance everything as far as that is concerned is all up to date and active.
Great. Does anybody else have any questions? I think we covered the community questions already. So I think that's it. Anyway, also thank you, Mr. Weatherington, for joining us tonight and telling us about your organization. I think we have a couple of minutes left before our official meeting begins. Anyway, yeah, thank you for coming, and we'll get started here in a second.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. do have 2 more minutes if there's anybody who has a quick announcement they need to make.
Yeah, get your monkeypox vaccine. Very important. It's very easy to do. DC monkeypox pre-register. Get in. Very simple. Doesn't hurt your muscle. Nothing. After COVID, no other shot could bother you.
Very, very good point. Thank you for adding that, Commissioner Petsick. Appreciate it. Commissioner Ewart, do you have something you want to add too?
Yeah, I just wanted to announce, I think the Ward 1 Moker is in attendance also. I'm meeting, if you're in the 1B area or 1B07 area, which is like northwest of 1B, we're doing a walkthrough tomorrow at 1 p.m. meeting at 16th and Euclid. If you're interested in joining us, you're more than welcome to, for folks who live in the area. Figured why not let people know who are attending the meeting right now. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to drop my email in the chat if you have any questions or concerns.
And I'll just quickly announce for any folks from my SMD area towards like 13th, 14th, Euclid, Fairmont, Clifton, Girard area. A lot of you attended a webinar we had with the developer of the Faircliff East redevelopment and affordable housing. And they're going to be back at our transportation committee meeting this month. So just in case that doesn't get said later, I know a lot of folks were interested and a lot of people attended that webinar. So they'll be back later this month at the transportation committee.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Let's get our formal meeting started. This is the ANC 1B monthly meeting. It's August 4th. We're meeting via Zoom. Madam Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Yes. Commissioner Handerhan. Commissioner Orlowski.
Present.
Commissioner Umar. Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Kinsick.
Present.
Commissioner Floyd.
Present.
Commissioner Ewart.
Present.
Commissioner Bana.
Present.
Commissioner Turner.
Present.
Commissioner Farnan.
Present.
Present and hi, Bo.
Commissioner Harris, present. We have a quorum of 9 of 11.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, you have an agenda before you. It includes the consent agenda with the July draft minutes. And there is one item to add under public safety, under sponsorships, in addition to Hoop for All. There was also for the returning citizens event. So that's will be added to the agenda. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Without objection, the agenda is approved. Financial reports, Madam Treasurer.
Yes, we are just awaiting on official approval of the QFR that was most recently submitted, but no issues. And only new expenditure since the last report of the QFR last month has been the sponsorship for Ward 1 Jobs Not Guns Summit and Fair. And I'll give an update on that during the public safety and community engagement section. But Ward 1 Commissioner and all the organizers of the event were very appreciative when I delivered the check. So thank you all for your support.
Thank you. Update on the Terrell, Commissioner Bana. I think he stepped away. Let's proceed to public safety and community engagement. Commissioner Farnan.
Thank you, Chair Turner. And I do see Commissioner Bana. Eric, do you have updates from Terrell? I know yours are quicker than
Sorry,
mine.
I'm having technical difficulties. My
Okay,
camera,
no worries.
but I sent commissioners an update after the last meeting. There hasn't been any meetings with steering committee since then. So if anyone wants to get in touch with the Terrell about different ways that you can, or the Terrell and wants to different ways to work with them, just reach out to me and I can put you in touch.
Wonderful. Thanks, Commissioner. And thanks for keeping us updated. I really appreciated your note. Okay, so public safety community engagement. We actually had a walk with MPD at along the U Street corridor. So thanks for Commissioners Bana and Harris for coming to that walk. And then a few neighbors as well joined us. And we had the commander who came to our meeting last month. We had two sergeants, I believe, and then a lieutenant and an officer, and both of those folks were community outreach officers. So I was happy to have them, who are normally walking the beat, out specifically in the U Street area during the evening. And then also we focused on the 7th and T Street area, where we were able to just talk through the nuance of that corner and understand how we can keep everybody safe who is utilizing the public space in our community. So just wanted to give that kind of MPD update. We do not have a representative on right now, but I am making it a priority to come to for me to go to their CAC meetings, which the commander has said he will be at each month, and specific sergeants who work in our 1B area will also be present. I am working on solidifying a lieutenant who will be present at our monthly meetings, but just have not found that right person yet. So we'll continue to update when I'm able to do that. Okay, then quick update on the Ward 1 Jobs Not Guns Summit. So that was on Wednesday, the 27th. It was very well attended by vendors who were there to market jobs for DC residents and returning citizens specifically, and folks who may be looking for jobs during summertime as well. Of course, this was held in Columbia Heights, so we had a lot of student representation who were walking around. I was happy to engage with someone from the CJCC, which does a lot of data gathering and analysis on crime, specifically in DC, but then also in pockets of neighborhoods. So they had very localized data that I think helped MPD understand where and why violent crime specifically was happening. And I'm happy to share the slides that were given to me from the representative with the commissioners. I have it in my email actually, so I can forward that along during this meeting. He had a specific slide on Ward 1, which was interesting. He said he would follow up with the further breakdown of neighborhoods as well. Last two updates on the Funk Parade this Saturday. Very exciting. There will be somewhat of a different layout and agenda, if you will. There'll be 3 pockets of events happening. The first being the Reeves Center, where I will mainly focus my time in the morning. So commissioners and community members, please join me. I will be out there at 11. I will be cleaning up our neighborhood, specifically in 1B11 at 10. So if you want to pick up some trash, text me and I would be happy to have you. We're specifically cleaning behind the Whole Foods area. I've received some complaints from neighbors, rightfully so. And so we're getting out there. Then, just making sure, great. Then we'll go over to the Reeves at 11. I'll be there from at least 11 to 12, and then I'm going to walk the corridor. We'll have happenings happening at Ben's, at the Right Proper Brewing, and at the African American Civil War Memorial. Music, vendors, all of the above. So if you're here on Saturday, come on out in the morning. And then finally, a sponsorship consideration. So I hope that everyone remembers the Hoop for All program that was at Banneker Rec Center last year. This is actually their 10th anniversary happening this year. So would love to be a sponsor again, as ANC 1B supported in the past. I know a few commissioners came out last year and we had a great like tent and table, and it was a wonderful afternoon weekend engaging with the youth of the area, but then also with Howard students who came by who normally I don't have luck talking with, but it was great to speak with them that weekend. So would love to sponsor that event again at the $1,000 level. So if anyone has questions, happy to answer, but at this time, I will make a motion to support their event with that sponsorship.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions? One abstention.
Kenzik's a nay.
Who was nay?
Kenzik.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Farnan? Motion.
Okay, and sorry. That is all, actually.
The 250?
Economic Development is taking the month off for, sorry, that's a later committee update, but they're taking August off for committee meetings. I also will not be hosting an in-person meeting, but will be playing with what I can do to gather information online, and then have someone who is a representative of a specific agency that neighbors want to hear from at our September meeting, whether that be OAG, CJCC, thinking through that. So I will announce our September meeting date at a later date. Thank you all for listening.
Commissioner, don't you have another sponsorship?
Oh, I did. I thought that was on the consent agenda, but I can make a motion right now. We supported an event at Meridian Hill Park that centered around returning citizens at the $250 level. And I will make a motion now to approve those funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention? One abstention. Motion passes. And next we have ZPD, Mr. Nelson.
Sorry, I just wanted to address, there was a Q&A for the pertaining to the Public Safety Committee. The question was about car windows getting smashed and break-ins, and about police reporting for those and making sure that the data is captured. So as Commissioner Farnan said, myself, Commissioner Farnan, Commissioner Harris attended a community walk with the new 3rd District Commander and a few of his officers. We did speak specifically about these kind of smash and grab events. So they stressed the importance of, not leaving valuables open in your car, potentially leaving your center console open or your glove box open to show that you have nothing of value of taking. But they did advise, that they, because of the way that they prioritize response, they aren't going to be able to come out to every smash and grab, but that does not mean you can't file a police report. You can do that over the phone. And
Commissioner Vanna, I will say they don't come out immediately, but
Right.
they will come out later in the day or the next day. Like, I have had my car window smashed, and I did say, I want to file and to have this on record. And one, for the statistics, as Diane is mentioning, but then two, for the area of focus. If the police know that this area is a hotbed for window smashings, then they're able to focus resources and specifically infrastructure asks around that area. So Dan, if you get told no first, I would push back and say, I've spoken with people who have had this issue and would like someone to come out when they're available. It may not be immediate, but at least they would be able to come out.
And Diane, it looks like you had follow-up questions about like kind of mass car break-ins. If you can send one of us the information, we can pass it on directly to our contacts at the 3rd District.
Diane, I just did share my email in the Q&A. It's 1b11@anc.dc.gov. Would love to speak with you about the specific area you're talking about and share further what other work we're trying to do. Okay, along Fairmont. Yes, thank you for that. We also are working on infrastructure asks specifically of DDOT, like lighting and cameras. So happy to share more. Okay. Thanks, Commissioner Vanna, for bringing that up.
Mr. Nelson.
Good evening, folks. There is one item on the agenda that needs a vote, and one item that I'm going to take a few minutes to describe and give some details on. Excuse me. So at our meeting this month, we had a applicant from 1920 9th Street Northwest. It's in the Arts 2 zone. It's a mirror lounge bar. It's in 1B02, which is Dan Roleski's SMD. And this is an HPRB request. They are proposing to remove and replace a metal and glass retractable canopy over the rear deck summer garden area. There was quite a bit of discussion on this at the committee. And the final outcome was a recommendation that the full ANC support concept and design for the installation of the metal and glass retractable canopy over the roof deck summer garden, with the agreement by the management to use opaque glass throughout the system, along with curtains on the side and rear sections of the new canopy.
Mr. Nelson, are they proposing to build this, or do they already have the foundation built?
Replacing one that's already on the building now that was put on quite a while ago, that was made out of fabric and has deteriorated and no longer is able to be opened or closed. So they are replacing it with ones that are similar around the city that are made out of glass, so that it'll be totally glass, but will also be open, be able to be open. Because it's part of a summer garden, it's not allowed to be a permanent fixture. It's a DCRA rule because it's technically under ABRA's summer garden rules.
And
Okay.
I just wanted to note and add to that, that we also discussed this in our ABR committee meeting, because this bar will have to come before us for renewal later this year. And there have been more than several complaints, concerns registered by neighbors regarding noise. So that's something that can be addressed in our ABRA, kind of renewal proceedings, but there is at least some hope that potentially replacing the, as Patrick described, fabric that's there now with something like glass would maybe provide some relief in the meantime before they come forward for their renewal of their liquor license, and we can have more potential restrictions put on them at that time.
I will.
Commissioner Orlowski, this is district.
One second, James. I just want to add to something that Eric said. The owner of the bar, the manager of the bar, showed up at the ZPD meeting. He was the presenter. And I specifically asked him to come to the ABRA meeting because we were going to be discussing it then. And he did not show up. So that was one of the things that we got out of the ABRA meeting, was that we're going to pursue a settlement agreement when his license comes up, which was also somewhat discussed at the ZPD meeting, but we didn't get into too much detail on it.
So who came before you? Was it the owner of the building or the owner of the bar?
It was the owner of the bar.
Because this is a capital improvement to the building.
It's, no. He's applied to HPRB to be able to put this on the building. And I'm assuming it's with the owner's permission, but the application is from the bar. It's from Maryland.
Okay. Mr. Orlowski.
Is there a weight difference?
Is there a weight difference? Yeah, it's a glass canopy versus a cloth one. I'm sure there is.
Right. So will the structure hold?
Yeah.
With its current?
Yeah, I don't think the concern was over the architecture, the construction. It was there was a lot of discussion that went back and forth about this. A lot of it had to do with things that really weren't relevant to the type of issue we were talking about. It's the HPRB issue. It's more about whether the changes would have an effect on historic character of the building or something like that. And Patrick can talk to this better than I can. But since the structure is, or not the structure, the improvements are on the back of the building, they are not visible from the street. They wouldn't affect any kind of historic nature of the neighborhood or the building itself. So it's under those standards, there's not much else to say.
I was just saying from a safety standpoint for people being in the back,
Okay.
If it's heavier weight, the structure might not be able to hold, and that could hurt a lot of people.
Well, it's a newer constructed building, Alan. That was one of the things that we did discuss. We did specifically ask that. In all honesty, I had some real issues in trying to get this guy to be transparent and not be able to participate in answering some questions. So we did ask specifics on that. The building has been renovated semi-recently. So what he's replacing is over a new addition in the back. And what's on there right now is pretty heavy to begin with. So there was that concern because it was specifically brought up, I believe, by one of the members about, is the glass going to be too heavy? Is it going to be made of safety glass? So all of those things were addressed. And that's why we specifically put in the thing in here, requests that came out of that as to the glass and protecting the light from coming out, because those were major concerns from the neighbors.
Thank you, Patrick.
This one was a pretty close vote. But I will move to accept the ZPD Commission's recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions.
She's not on anymore.
Motion passes.
Okay, so I'm just going to take a few minutes, and if you have questions, feel free to ask. But I want to give a brief update on this project that we have been moving through the process on at CPD, as that is a PUD that's located at 1250 U Street. This has been, putting it bluntly, not a fun project to deal with. And I'm glad that I don't have to do any more of these. But that said, it's gone through HPRB 3 times. It has been approved by HPRB. So now we are moving into the technical phase of this, which goes through the zoning commission. So they have issued their notice of intent to the ANC that they're going to file. They have had 1 meeting, 2 meetings with the community to talk about it. They have come to the ZPD committee last month and explained in detail what it is that they're asking for and starting the process. They intend to file their application on August 8th, which then triggers the next set of steps that have to be followed, which is 35 days after that is the earliest that they can take the next step. So this project, as I have said before, includes the U Street building. It includes the alley lots behind the U Street building. Sable, do you want to ask a question or can I continue?
I did actually, and then I wanted to add something after you're finished, but is it 35 days or 45 days?
It's 35 days. I looked it up to cheat.
I thought it was 45. Oh,
No, there's different steps and there's different time frames for each one of them. I double checked that after you and I talked. So it's 35 days.
okay. Thank you.
So for those who have not been through a PUD, the way a PUD works is a project is zoned, a specific zone, and the act of doing a PUD, plan unit development, just in case anyone doesn't know what that is they are given they go through this process to be able to quote unquote uptick the parcel that they are going to develop so that they can get a better project. And the return for that is that they're supposed to be giving something better to the community as a whole. So the U Street building is currently an Arts 1 zone, and they're asking to uptick it to an Arts 4 zone, which is greater height and greater density. The alley lots are RF1, and they are not asking to change that. So briefly, the flexibility that they're asking from the PUD through the zoning commission are 7 items on the U Street building and 5 items on the alley lots. Typically the same kind of things that always happen. Lot occupancy, setbacks, parking. On the U Street building, they have a couple courts that they're not max, minimized area is out of alignment, so they're asking for some variance on that. Because they're on a arts overlay, there's some street frontage that they have to attain and some storefront frontage they have to attain, and they are asking for differences on that because of the metro access or the station that's right under the building. In the RF1 zone, they're asking for the same thing: lot occupancy, rear yard, side yard, lot area, parking, and lot width. Typical stuff that they ask for through a PUD, nothing out of the ordinary. So the other side of this is that they have to now work with the community to come up with what is commonly known as a community benefits package. Under the new regulations, they are no longer allowed to just issue cash payments. They have to come up with concrete items to attain. There's a standard list that zoning has put forward, and they're allowed to pick out of that list. And then there's one category that has a little bit of flexibility that allows them to do out of the ordinary things where the community can ask for instance, helping a senior citizen building get improvements. That's just one idea. I won't take too much time on that. So I'm just going to run down quickly the items that they've picked out of the list. And then if anyone has any specific questions, they can ask, because I don't want to take a lot of time on this, but it's important that you guys understand this because you're going to be voting on it when it comes before you later. So they're asking or offering to have superior urban design and architecture. superior landscaping and creation of open spaces, that site planning and effective and economical land utilization, commemorative artworks or public arts. They're planning on doing some of that within the metro space to activate it more. Historic preservation, which they've already gotten approved. Housing that exceeds the matter of right development. And they're also planning on providing units that have 3 bedrooms versus just 1 bedrooms. Affordable housing exceeding the IZ requirements. Employment and training opportunities. They plan to work with a hotel that they're planning on putting in there to do that. Environmental and sustaining benefits. They want to go LEED Gold. Enhancing the streetscape. That has to do with the Metro Plaza. We talked about adopt a park. That's something through DPR. Transportation infrastructure. Mass.
So it's a pretty extensive list.
And the last one is implementation of the Duke plan, which is all part of it. So as of this point, I'll just give a summary of what they're planning on doing. They're planning on doing retail space of 7,000 square feet, lodging, which is a hotel of approximately 50 to 60 units, apartments in a range of 117 to 143. And then on Temperance Alleyway, they're planning on doing 15 townhomes that are all going to be 3-bedroom units. I know that was a lot, and I know James doesn't like when I get into these winded technical stuff, but you guys have to understand what you're going to be voting on later. This will be probably coming back. I know they're coming back to the ZPD again, and there's going to be multiple interactions within the community to get input on this. So be prepared to get some more spiel thrown at you, whether it's from me or from Sable. And I will open it to anyone that has any more questions before I get told to shut up.
So we can share out the list of proposed benefits, but just know, commissioners and to community members, that this list is not set in stone. We can bring forth plenty of other ideas. This space, just as a reminder, is where the U Street Metro station is, where that H&R Block, where the Starbucks was. I see a question in the chat. DPR was located in there. I'm not sure if they're still using the space, but they were leasing it out until 2023. So they would have had to relocate anyway. They don't, this is not district owned property. This is owned by East Bank. So that's when their lease is up. I see another question about the police substation. That's not located in this property. If you're referring to the 3rd District headquarters or FEMS, I believe Commissioner Handerhan, who isn't with us tonight, has a brief update on that. But we will be hosting, I as the commissioner and a bit of the commission, we will be hosting meetings. I am planning one for the end of August, several others throughout the fall, and especially after and in that window of 35 days to discuss benefits that we want to negotiate with the developer. So the developer team will be hosting their own set of meetings to talk about benefits, but we will be hosting our own to put forth those benefits to the team, since that is what we are supposed to do. So again, what Patrick read off, it's not set in stone. Some of those are required, but some of the other benefits that we can add on, whether that's more affordable housing or it's other options, we can certainly look into those and brainstorm. We're not going to get everything, but it's still worth putting forward to see what we can get. So I would encourage community members who are with us tonight to attend those meetings. I will put my information in the chat. So if you have any further questions for me about the project, you can reach out. And then we will post the meetings that we will be having on this project on anc1b.org. And I will give ample notice when we'll be having them. So stay tuned. We'll have them scheduled in the next week.
And that is part of the regulations that pertain to the PUD. The developer has done its part for the HPRB, and it can do whatever it wants to through this process. It's supposed to engage, but the ANC, Sable's the SMD person, it's her responsibility to have public meetings to get the ANC's weigh in on this. And as she said, this is just a start. It's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of stuff thrown out. And, you know, as I've said to Sable and I've said to the developer directly, at this point in time, we take all the spaghetti and throw it in the wall and see what sticks. Nothing is unacceptable at this point, but we have to be very transparent and realize that not everything is going to be able to be worked on, because this is a give and take process, but have to be open, willing to talk, and be productive. If you don't want to be productive and don't show up at meetings, don't come in at the last minute and bitch and moan because you didn't get the project that you wanted. Max?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to reiterate that folks, commissioners included, and people in the public, that they should take part in these negotiations. That's what they really are. DC is a unique municipality where these community benefits packages are negotiated with the ANCs and the community, as opposed to with the city or county or municipal staff. So this is a unique process that does not happen everywhere. And if you care about the potential benefits that can come from the increased density, increased height from this project, I encourage you to come out and participate in these discussions, because this doesn't happen everywhere, and it's a unique opportunity that we have here in the city. So I encourage folks to come out to it, even if they're not directly neighbors, just to kind of experience and see how this impacts you.
I just wanted to quickly thank Chair Nelson, Commissioner Ewert, and especially Commissioner Harris for all the work they've done already on this project. It's a huge project. I think that we first heard about 1250 U Street at like our first meeting in, February 2021. So there's already been a ton of community engagement and Zoom meetings. And I know Commissioner Harris has walked around the property with people, and there's been a lot of back and forth with the developer and with neighbors. And so I just wanted to commend all of those folks for what they've done so far, and what sounds like more discussions and more community engagement to come. So thank you.
Oh, there'll be more discussions and more headache to come. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so then I will just end by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to my spiel. And our next meeting will be August 15th at 6:30. And if you're really into PUDs, you can come and listen to them talk again, because they're coming back this month. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Patrick. Economic Development, Commissioner Farnan.
Hello. Yes, I am filling in for Commissioner Handerhan tonight because he is traveling on the road, but just giving some neighborhood updates since last meeting. So we have Grimkey, Reeves, 1617U, and the HFA site. So first with Grimkey, no crazy new updates, but phase 2 development has begun, focused on the former site of the African American Civil War Museum. So you'll see some signage as has been out, but we'll keep you updated. Reeves, nothing new. working to relocate central functions at the site before the development team is chosen. So we've continued to follow up with DemPed, hoping to find out when that will be, but we don't know. 1617U, the surplus meeting occurred on July 14th, and an RFP will be coming out this fall. The site is currently in 1C, but with redistricting, it will be in 1B, so starting January next year. Commissioner Handerhan is coordinating with ANC 1C to make sure that the Economic Development Committee and the neighborhood is updated and ready to take on, recommendations for that development when it comes into 1B. HFA, which is right on Florida and 9th. No new updates, but the DC Housing Finance Agency will join a meeting once the development plans are presented to their board, so they can give us their perspective and purview on timeline. Recap of the June meeting for Econ Dev. They had Howard University as a special guest, so big thanks to Derek and Dr. Joe Leonard for providing updates on 7 different Howard University development projects. Last month, we had a great project or a great presentation from one of those projects. So if you're interested, you can go and revisit that recording. But you can find Howard's presentation attached to the agenda. Looks like a link may have been broken, but we'll make sure to get that out to folks on our site. And then finally, Howard will continue to update the community on with their community action or their community council. Also wanted to share that Dr. Leonard sent out a great email about fall move-in. So for neighbors in the 1B11 area, 1B01, traffic patterns have been dispersed, and move-in will begin on the 8th, so next week. And that's all. Oh, and the next meeting, as I mentioned earlier, no meeting in August, so we will announce the next meeting at the September monthly ANC. Thanks, everyone.
Any questions? Transportation, Commissioner Ewert.
Hi, everyone. We have 2 resolutions to vote on from the Transportation Committee meeting. The first one is a resolution for 15th Street Northwest between Euclid and Irving Street Northwest. It's a request to have DDOT study reconfiguring the bike lane that's in between Euclid and Irving Street Northwest. This is something that I'm coordinating with 1A as well, as the majority of this bike lane is in 1A. As it currently exists, the bike lane, which is a cycle track from about the White House to Euclid Street Northwest, the road narrows substantially and turns into a northbound bike lane that it goes adjacent to the flow of traffic. And what happens is you get a lot of people who are on bicycles and scooters who are trying to go southbound, and they either ride in the bike lane going the wrong direction, or they're riding on the sidewalk, which is already fairly narrow in that part of the street. So this resolution is just identifying that this is an issue, whether it's not, even though it's not an intention of the design, it's something that's happening currently, and asking for DDOT to take the time to do a study and figure out what best alternatives exist to make sure that folks remain safe on this portion of the bike lane. The Transportation Committee recommended full ANC support of the resolution, and I will make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, commissioners? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Motion passes. Thank you.
And then the second resolution is a request to convert formerly unregulated parking spaces to metered or RPP spaces. There are 2 identified locations. There are parking spaces on the 1400th block of W Street, right in front of 1400 W, And these are in front of a former, I think, like car repair that is now has been redeveloped into a residential building. And as was common in front of industrial sites, there was no regulation for those parking spaces in front of them. And then the 2000 block of 8th Street Northwest, which kind of splits between Commissioner Handerhan and Commissioner Orlaski's district, a very similar situation where these were former industrial sites or different uses that are now residential uses. The resolution is asking for the W Street ones to be converted to RPP parking, and then the 8th Street ones to be converted to metered parking. These would be consistent with the commercial and residential uses that are nearby these respective parking spaces. I've done my research and reached out with Mignon Bowie, our Ward 1 liaison with DDOT, to see like what the process is to do these, and they're both done through TSI requests. So this resolution would effectively just be in support of those TSI requests, but I wanted to make sure we ran it the ANC and the Transportation Committee before just finally putting those in. Effectively, all this does is kind of standardize what is the parking that should have been converted when the use in front of the parking spaces was converted, and to support those eventual requests that we will put in. So the Transportation Committee recommendation is for full ANC support of the resolution, and I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? To clarify, the proposal is RPP on the W Street and metered on 8th Street.
Yep, that is correct.
Other discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion passes.
Sounds good. I'm going to be submitting that TSI probably tomorrow morning, and I'll keep commissioners, especially those in 1B0, 1, 2, and 4, where this is impacted. I'll keep everyone updated on how that TSI process is going. Our next meeting for the Transportation Committee is going to be on August 10th, next week at 7 p.m., and you can register at anc1b.org. As Commissioner Baina mentioned, we're going to have a presentation from the Faircliff East folks on the parking entrance and other transportation related, I don't want to say issues, but considerations for the project. So if you are in 1B08 or are paying attention to the Faircliff East project, please feel free to register or reach out to me. I'm going to drop my email in the chat at 1b07@anc.dc.gov. Thank you very much.
Thank you. ABR, Commissioner Baina.
Okay. So the ABR committee met last month, as we typically do, on the third Wednesday of the month. So we continue to process license renewals for Class C restaurant licenses. We have a couple of like the multi-purpose licenses and those other ones that are due right now. The big onslaught of the Class C tavern licenses, the CT licenses, are going to be later this year. And later this year meaning September, so rapidly approaching. So I encourage folks, if you have concerns or compliments you think they're about an opera licensed establishment, please fill out our feedback form on our webpage at the ABR committee at anc1b.org. And we want to have that information as places come up for renewal, so that we can sort of prioritize who we need to pursue settlement agreements with, and who is a upstanding member of the community that doesn't really need a settlement agreement. And the other thing I wanted to say, we had Solana Vandernat, who is the director of the Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Culture, on our last meeting. She was discussing the U Street Multi-Agency Task Force. So from essentially the beginning of July through Labor Day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This task force is out there. It's being coordinated by the mayor's office. There's a lot of different agencies. We heard about it on our last July full ANC meeting, but we had them come speak to our smaller group at the ABR committee, and there were some really good questions that were asked. So we're looking forward to the data that comes out of that initiative. One item we have to take a vote on. It's for Stop Smackin' in 1B01 in Larry Handerhan's district. That's at 1839 7th Street Northwest. So Larry's not here, but I spoke with him about this in advance, and I also spoke with the owners of Stop Smackin' earlier today. So Stop Smackin' applied for their new liquor license in early 2021. It was before we sort of got into gear, and now, whereas we have settlement agreements with all of pretty much every new establishment that opened this past year and a half, they kind of just were earlier, and we didn't get a settlement agreement with them. So they are very open to that agreement, the neighborhood agreement, and we will work with them to come to that agreement, similar to what many other bars have signed based on our template agreement. So, but we do have to formally protest it to keep our standing. So I want to make that motion because that is what the committee recommended. So I will make that motion now.
Second.
Sorry, I want to get the full motion out there. Sorry, I motion to accept the ABR committee recommendation that the ANC protest renewal on peace, order, quiet, and all applicable grounds. That's the motion.
And we have a second. Discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Motion passes. Thank you.
Great. And like I said, the owners have been very responsive. We're going to start working with them on that community agreement, that settlement agreement. The last announcement I have so our next meeting is Wednesday, August 17th at 7 p.m. So you can register at anc1b.org. But I also want to look ahead to our September ABR meeting, because we will be having Director Musali, who is the head of ABRA, on that September meeting, specifically to talk about ABRA enforcement and how ABRA coordinates with other agencies, kind of keeping with that theme of the multi-agency task force that's been out on U Street. Within ANC 1B, our ABR committee has heard a lot about how the various agencies, whether it's ABRA, whether it's DPW, DCRA, DDOT, can all kind of better work more cohesively to ensure that there's a good balance between our lively, robust nightlife and the residential areas that are so close to the U Street corridor. So preview and stay tuned for that September meeting. That is all of my updates, unless there's any questions from commissioners.
What about the pub crawl?
So, as tends to happen, we were invited to a last-minute meeting by ABRA. It was we found out about it, I believe, on Monday, and it was yesterday morning. So, folks will maybe know, maybe they don't know when. So the way the pub crawls are regulated in DC is they are held by like third-party promoter type groups, or like it's not necessarily like one bar having it. Basically, like a third party plans it, and they get bars to sign on to it. And each bar can only be in a certain number of pub crawls in a given time, and the organizer of the pub crawl has to have a security plan and all this different type of stuff. All that to say, it's just different because it doesn't go before the ANC in the same way that like a regular bar license does. Basically, ABRA makes the decision, and up until recently, they really haven't sought much input from the ANC on pub crawls. But this meeting yesterday focused on 3 pub crawls occurring the weekend of Halloween. One of those is in ANC 1B. The other 2 are in ANC 2, Ward 2 by DuPont. So there was only one pertaining to our ANC. It essentially starts on 14th Street, comes down, goes east on U Street, and only makes it to 11th, I believe. It doesn't go further east than 11th. I have the list of all the bars. I have their security plan. I have all of that. I will distribute it to fellow commissioners. I will distribute it to folks that come to our ABR meetings, the folks that are really keyed into and interested in this type of stuff. Abra has X amount of time to weigh in on it, but it's essentially guaranteed that they will approve it because they always do. And there are extensive details about the security, about the different measures, about how many people, about the times. I think folks will maybe be happy to know this is kind of a daytime thing. It starts at 2 p.m. and it is done by like 9 or 10 p.m. And it's Halloween weekend. So I will send that around to all commissioners, and I will drop my email in the chat in case anyone who lives around that area would like to dive into that plan in detail. I'd say it's at least like a 20-page document, close to, of the plans and the route and the security and all of that. And I did ask the kind of organizers of it to reach out to me. It was kind of a big Zoom meeting, so I wasn't able to connect with them one-on-one, but I did give them my email, so I'm hoping that they'll reach out. But from reading the 20-page document, they did include the cell phone number of the head of security. So I basically, if folks have questions in advance of this pub crawl, the ANC can kind of go between and get some, do some triaging of questions and answers. But at the end of the day, pub crawls on U Street aren't new. So we march forward. So that's the pub crawl situation, James.
Thank you for attending. I knew it was going to be a little painful, but it was good to hear what they were going to be doing, even if they're not going to listen to us much.
Yeah, and we could, there's only one happening in the U Street area. DuPont area has two days in a row. So
thank you. Administrative ANC petitions are due by close of business next Wednesday. There's a pretty good slate of candidates with more than one in some SMDs. So even though we didn't, as a government, do a good job of notifying residents about the redistricting and changes in ANCs, the word did get out, and there is some good response there. Announcements, is LaToya Davenport on? No?
I don't think she could make it today, but.
No, Amanda, sorry, she is on.
Oh, she just raised her hand. Perfect.
Ms. Davenport, if you'd like to make a comment.
Ms.
Good evening,
Davenport.
everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The U.S. Attorney's Office, we don't have any updates right now. If you're not on my distribution list and you would like to be added to my distribution list, you can put your email in the chat. I have been sending out emails regarding some hate bias cases. I don't know if anyone on here has received it. If not, I can send you those updates. We did have a hate bias task force meeting a week ago, which was well attended. So if you're not getting my emails with upcoming events, just please put your email in the chat.
I think we very much appreciate getting the increased communication from the U.S. Attorney's Office, and you keep us very well informed. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Jared Allen from Office of the Mayor. I thought I saw him.
It was on earlier. Maybe.
Okay, we'll come back. Let's go to Kevin. Let's go to Kevin from Office of Councilmember Nadeau.
All right, hi everyone. Thank you for giving me a minute to speak. I don't have many updates either. Council is currently on summer recess, but on Monday, the council member and the constituent service team had a after hours community meetup or community office hours at Sankofa. We had a really great turnout meeting with Ward 1 residents. I also wanted to just provide summary on three bills or three that our office is involved with. And I will also provide you the website to sign up for our newsletter, so then you can just get these updates in written form as well. The first act I wanted to highlight is the Enhancing Reproductive Health Protection Amendment Act, which would protect those who support and assist individuals seeking to self-terminate a pregnancy, and shield those who provide, dispense, or transfer any products used for self-managed abortions from any penalties. The second act I want to highlight is the Erase Solitary Confinement Act, which the council member co-introduced with council member Che to end solitary confinement in district jails. Lastly, the third act is the Fostering Stable Housing Opportunity Amendment Act. And the council member introduced this act, which requires the Child and Family Services Agency to do the necessary work to secure federal housing vouchers through the Department of Housing and Urban Development in order to assist folks who are aging out of foster care, the ability to access stable, independent housing. The typical route when children exit the foster care system is that they end up homeless. But this bill would allow CFSA to do the necessary work to access the Department of Housing and Urban Development's vouchers, which I believe will provide 5 years of housing assistance to foster youths who are aging out of foster care. And if y'all have any questions about any of the legislative acts I just brought up, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'll connect you with the right person on the legislative team to answer your questions. And that's it.
Any questions for Kevin?
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hi.
I just wanted to say that I've noticed Nadeau has been going out, and it's great. She's been sending some more literature. A lot of constituents have been telling me that, and the thing she did on Georgia Avenue the other night was a great success. So the transparency is appreciated, and hope it continues.
Great, thank you.
I just wanted to highlight a question that was in the chat about the safety bill, the traffic safety bill, and how her bill is incorporated in or not incorporated in what was voted on by the council recently, or read by the council, whatever point of it is in.
Thank you for that question. If you send me an email, I'm adding my email right now, I can connect you to the right person on our legislative team to answer this question for you. Give me 1 second. So to shoot me an email and I'll connect you with the legislative team to answer your question.
There was also another, well, I think it's more of a statement in the chat about some constituent services issues that haven't been addressed. Kevin dropped his email in the chat, and I can pass along our MOKers email addresses. And I highly recommend definitely reaching out to your commissioner if they're tied to 311 request, if you can include this ticket numbers, that's also helpful. But it seems like they have a list of issues that haven't been addressed. If you want to pass that along or reach out to this person, Kevin.
Sure. Mark, feel free to just email me and I'll follow up with you after this meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Thank you.
Rod is here.
Jared, who is
Moise.
well.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Sorry about that. I had a couple technical difficulties, right? But I'm back. My name is Gerard Allen, War One Moker, taking over for Anthony Moore. I only got a couple of updates. Start with the DC HR hiring fair. Mario Bowser invites residents to register for DC HR Summer Virtual Hiring Event, which will be held Thursday, August 11th, Friday, August 12th. Participating agencies will make on-the-spot job offers to qualified pre-screen registrants for nearly 1,000 vacancies in several fields, including health and human services, public safety, government operations, and infrastructure. Registration is required and will begin Friday, July 29th and continue through Sunday, August 7th. To help residents prepare for the upcoming job fair, DCHR Center for Learning and Development, the CLD, will host 3 seminars on Thursday, July 28th from 12 to 1:30 p.m., Friday, July 29th from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Friday, August 5th from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. The seminar will provide participants tips for resume writing, interviewing, how to best engage with recruiters virtually, and navigating the virtual platform. As an employer of choice, the DCHR is committed to making sure applicants have an opportunity to claim additional preferences such as district residency, military services, foster care, as applicable when they submit their application. To register for the hiring fair and learn more about the seminar, please visit dc.gov/join our team. My next update will be the monkeypox. I would also like to provide a recent update on the monkeypox and encourage more DC residents to pre-register for vaccination appointments at preventmonkeypox.dc.gov. Monkeypox is a rare but potentially serious viral illness that can be transmitted from person to person through direct contact. Given the rapid increase in cases, they very limited supply of vaccines. DC Health has decided that the most urgent priority is for providing the first doses of vaccine to high-risk residents. Single-dose strategy is consistent with the monkeypox vaccine distribution strategy used in UK and also Canada, as well as New York City. DC Health reports that there are nearly 172 cases of monkeypox in the district. Once appointments become available, individuals who have pre-registered will receive an email invitation to make a vaccination appointment. Please remember to monitor your emails, as you will have 48 hours to claim your vaccination appointment. Eligible residents who do not immediately receive an appointment invitation will stay in the system until an appointment becomes available. All residents are invited to pre-register for a vaccination appointment, and those who are not currently eligible will be contacted if eligibility changes and appointments are available. Again, visit preventmonkeypox.dc.gov for the latest information on the virus. And that'll be all of my updates. If you guys have any questions or anything I could answer from here, or you guys can get my email, reach me there. That's all I got. Appreciate it.
Max, you were first. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Gerard, for taking the time to speak with us. One thing that I think would be really appreciated in the community is just like relaying to DC Health that like how important education is on the monkeypox vaccine and what monkeypox is. I've seen a lot of misinformation out there about how this is a quote unquote gay disease, how this only impacts people from certain communities. And I think making sure that DC Health is getting out in front of this and letting folks know that no, this does not just impact people in the LGBT community, that it can happen to anyone, is really important, and especially considering the history of health that disproportionately impacts people in that community, like HIV and AIDS, and making sure that we're just giving people the information that they need to be as healthy and safe as possible.
And I'll just piggyback on that. I wanted to say that a good thing that I just saw that you didn't mention, Jared, that DC Health opened a third vaccination site in Ward 8. So there's one in Ward 2, Ward 4, and Ward 8. So reaching more folks. And then I believe I saw today DC Health announced that on Fridays there's going to be limited walk-up opportunity for appointments. So that is another way potentially to reach some folks who maybe don't have the technology access to pre-register online. So I just wanted to note that on certain days, on Fridays, it was announced that there would be walk-up appointments at those clinics, a limited amount.
Commissioner Kinzick.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for this, Mr. Allen. I'll be sending an email and we could follow up to talk about some things.
Okay.
I believe some other locations are also providing the vaccine. Whitman Walker.
Whitman Walker has not started yet.
Got a call from them that they did. So
Gave blood there earlier. They didn't, but I don't know. Okay.
And I thought Mary Center, but I may be mistaken on that one. Commissioners, if you haven't spent time with Jared, please do so. So he can get familiar with key issues in your area and get to know you and your neighborhood. That'll help him be more successful in his job as well. Commissioners, announcements? Are there any community questions?
None that I'm seeing.
Okay. Okay, thanks everyone. We are adjourned. See you next month.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
night, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.